Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about the riots in Portland and how they haven't been stopped and why they haven't been stopped. Now, they started for a decent reason, George Floyd and police brutality. Even at the beginning, though, they weren't peaceful. They were violent at the end, usually at night. Usually, what happens at these protests are that in the afternoon, the people are peaceful, and about two-thirds of them leave, and about a third stay behind. And those are the troublemakers. Those are the ones that throw rocks and throw bricks and fireworks and cause havoc and destroy stores and do all sorts of things. Now, the reason why it's gone on this long is it's been allowed to go on this long. The mayors in liberal cities, Portland, Seattle, Chicago, New York, decided that these protesters aligned with them and their values. So they allowed it, and they thought was going to be good politically for them. And as the riots continued to go on in Portland, the mayor, Tom Wheeler, decided that he was going to go out and protest with them. Now, this was kind of stupid because they're throwing rocks or throwing bricks. They're launching high-grade fireworks at this building. Well, he's there, and they're shouting him down. They're telling him to resign, throwing water bottles on him. Of course, he's got police protection, but still, it was a stupid thing to do. But if you have a mayor of a town, a city actually, a mayor of a city going out and leading people that are breaking the law, how do you think he's going to curtail this? And these riots continued, and businesses were getting looted and vandalized and couldn't open. People can't live their lives, and he just let it happen. And furthermore, he blamed Trump, and he blamed Trump for the riots. He said that the federal government was going around in unmarked vans and unmarked at all, and abducting people, and if it wasn't for the federal presence, that Portland wouldn't be rioting, the people wouldn't be rioting. So it was Trump's fault. Nancy Pelosi joined in and said they were stormtroopers that were going out and terrorizing the cities. This wasn't the case at all. But what the federal police were doing was protecting federal buildings. In Portland, night after night, the federal courthouse was getting attacked. The federal government put up a wall, and they would stay inside until the wall was breached. And when the wall was breached, and these useful idiots would try to set the building on fire, take hammers to the building, throw rocks, throw bricks, use lasers to try to disable the police, that's when they were arrested. And the federal agents have every right to arrest people that are trying to destroy a federal building. Every right in the world. Well, this continued, and all the little mayors in Chicago, Portland, Seattle agreed that Trump was the cause of this. Orange man bad, sending in his goons to pick on just peaceful protesters who weren't doing anything wrong. Well, eventually a deal was reached where the federal government would take a back seat. The federal law enforcement officers were still there, but the local police would take care of the protesters. And I think Ted Wheeler thought that the riots were going to stop. See, he thought he was in charge of the riots, that he was kind of the Antifa in chief. And so when he made a deal, they would stop. Well, it turns out they haven't stopped. They attacked a police precinct and used accelerants to try to set it on fire and then trap the people inside. And Wheeler, I don't think, would have had a problem with this if it was a federal building, but he had told the protesters basically to stop, and now he had and has egg on his face because he told everyone, and all the news picked it up, that the federal government was behind this. Now the federal government, he made a deal with the federal government that they would be gone basically, and the protesters are still doing what they do, rioting. And so he's now singing a different tune. He came out and said that they attempted murder and that they're playing right into Trump's hands by still being on the streets. So I think what's going to happen now, I think you're going to see a crackdown. because a general whose troops don't follow his orders, those troops are either discarded or brought into line. So if Wheeler has any power and if he's competent, you're going to see the Portland riots stop, because it's making him look bad. It's making the Democrats look bad, and the whole premise of letting this go was to make Trump look bad and the Republicans look bad. It's the same reason why the mayor, I should say, the mayor of Seattle, let that Chaz nonsense go on for so long. It was to make Trump look bad. She said it was the summer of love and all the hippies took over. Well, they started coming to her house and they started shooting people in the streets, and she put a stop to that really quick. We have to remember that politicians' first, second, and third goal is to get reelected, to have their side win. And now that the riots are starting to make the left look bad and kind of backfiring on them, people are turning on them and turning towards Trump, I think they're going to tamper down or stop entirely. Now, these mayors might just be incompetent, so you might still have protests. We'll see, but I think it's in the left's best interest now to tamper these down, and I think they will. And anyway, that's about all. Remember, never to believe in anybody's propaganda, not even your own. Thanks. Bye-bye.